Yo, tuned in, it's that time again. Welcome to the show under the bright zen. Just another messenger bringing the news with the beat in your soul. Let's light up these views. We're diving deep, no time for snooze. Grab your headphones, let me share the clues. In a world so loud where voices collide, we find the rhythm, let the truth be our guide. Hit that play button, feel the vibe. Every second counts, let's take that ride. From stories untold to laughs we share. Just another messenger, we're always there. Hi. It's a jam, so sit back and unwind. With our flow and our style, it's one of a kind. Life's a mix, just like a DJ spins. We serve you the truth where the journey begins. It's a jam, we're all in this together. Sound waves licking us, no matter the weather. Just another messenger, we keeping it tight. With every single drop, we rise and ignite. Yeah.
Good day. I'm your host, Sharmele, and welcome to another installation of Just Another Messenger, where we raise the situational urgency and consciousness regarding today's current events. We'll dive deep into the historical past by examining the philosophies, legal system, and political decisions that continues to influence our daily lives. So please join the conversation during the episode. Your comment matters. Hit the subscribe, share, and like button to be a part of more thought-provoking conversation in the future. You wouldn't want to miss it. And don't forget to visit our website at www.justanothermessenger.com that connects you to all our social feeds, online merch store, and our link to support the work via Cash App at $JustAnotherMessenger. So let's get started. All right, now let's get started here. I know we're back. We've been off air for a while. This is one of our special presentations that we're going to have this evening. And let's talk about hair. Hair has never been just about hair. It's always been cultural language, then codified laws. It speaks identity before you even ever open your mouth. It tells about our ancestry before paperwork does. It carries memory, and even history tries to erase it. And that's exactly why it's been regulated, wrapped, policed, cut, covered, and controlled. Now, welcome back to Just Another Messenger. I know we've been off the air for about a month, but we are back and we're going to get into this information today where we don't just talk about information until we go deep. We're going to trace deep into this patterns. So I'm your host, Sharmele here. And what we're going to do here, tonight's conversation, it's called Where Science Meets Beauty with Dr. Akita Evans of Health E Medical Center and Sharmele West of Smiley's Hair Clinic, both located in Tucker, Georgia. But don't get it twisted. This isn't surface level beauty talk. This is about biology meeting history, medicine meeting culture, as well as a reclamation meeting the truth. So for centuries, hair loss has symbolized identity, vitality, heritage, and self-expression. Yet history shows us that textured, natural, and cultural distinct hair has been misunderstood, marginalized, and regulated through social norms, workplace rules, as well as coded laws that dictated how people were allowed to show up in this world. So tonight, we're going to break this cycle. All right, now we're back, but we're going to give some great housekeeping rules before we really get into this. So let's pull up our information here on how to get in contact with Just Another Messenger and how you can also support the channel. So let me go ahead and put that information for you up on the screen here. So as you can see here, let's put that up. All right. So you can support the channel by subscribe, share, and like over on our YouTube page at Just Another Messenger. Also, we're on X at JAM underscore 404 podcast. And if you would like to continue to support the show, because it's important that this support is needed for our alternative news outlet, you can do that via our Cash App at $ Just Another Messenger. Also, if you're someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please send us a friendly email at justanothermessengerpodcast at gmail.com. All right, we have that information up on the screen. We'll bring that information in and out throughout the episode so you'll know how to contact us. And also, we're going to showcase the information of our guests as we bring them on shortly. And also, let's get into our disclaimer here, because it's very important that we do that, because you know how Facebook love to ding you. All right, let's do that. Let's get into our disclaimer for this evening, where it says Just Another Messenger is a platform dedicated to public education, historical awareness, cultural critique, and transformative discussions under the protection of Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act of 1976, commonly referred to as fair use. Just Another Messenger. Sorry. I got a little thing going on right here. Just Another Message does not provide any statutory counseling for any United States color of law jurisdictional proceeding. The content presented by Just Another Messenger may include excerpts of copyrighted material, such as images, audio, video, and written works for the purpose of criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, scholarship, and research. All such usage is non-commercial in nature and intended to stimulate public discourse, raise consciousness, and support transformative learning. We do not claim ownership over any third-party copyrighted material used. All rights and credit belong to the original creators. If you are the copyright holder of any information featured and have concerns regarding its use, please contact directly via email for prompt resolution. All right, we have our disclaimer out of the way there. So as we have our disclaimer out of the way, let's get into let's look at how we're going to get into that before we bring our guest on. We have to get into the understanding of the background and history of hair. And we're going to get to that, how we talk about the identity of it. And like, we're going to do that by understanding that this information has been codified, as we talked about. Now, let's look at also for how we're going to look at how centuries hair has been symbolized by its identity, his vitality, and his culture, as well as its self-expression, and how history has showed us that textural as well as cultural hair has been distinction from its cultural norms. Now, as we look at this information, before we talk about the follicles and the treatments, we need to talk about context in alignment with Black History Month. And we're going to do that by we're going to give a node to Carter G. Woodson. I'm sorry. When you're getting back on this thing, you got to go all over the place. We're going to give a node to Carter G. Woodson, which is also the founder of what was called at the time Negro History Week. So now it's codified as Black History Month. All right, so we're going to give a note to this information. And while we're going to give a note to this information, there's a book also we like everyone to also read called Alienable Rights. And that information, hair suppression is not about the suppression. This book is not exactly talking about the suppression of hair. It's also talking about the rights that was management issue that took place. And so this book tells us how government has learned to say, yes, you have your rights, but not like that. So while the book doesn't name hair, it legitimized the mechanism that made hair regulation legally survivable for centuries. And that's going to help us understand what we talk about when we talk about the 1786 Tignon Laws that was enacted in Louisiana by the governor at the time. And the Tignon, it was took place across Africa, the Caribbean, indigenous nation, as well as diasporic communities, where hair signifies tribe, status, age, maternal conditions. Styles were genealogically markers, braiding patterns carried maps, resistance code, as well as survival strategies. Then colonization happened, and hair became something to hide, correct, as well as discipline. Now, this Tignon law that took place in the 18th century in Louisiana, this happened under the Spanish colonial rules. Between Black and Creole women, they were legally required to cover their hair under the Tignon laws. And yet we have to question why, because their hair, whether natural, styled, or dermed, they was deemed to be too visible, too attractive, as well as too powerful. So scarves were fashioned, they were legally muzzled, and that mentality didn't disappear. It just put on a suit. Now we're going to transition over to Dr. Akita Evans, and here's how the conversation is going to shift as we talk about where science meets beauty. And then after we bring in Dr. Akita Evans, we're going to bring in Sharmele Smiley of Smiley's Hair Clinic in Tucker, Georgia. And we're going to let each lady introduce themselves as we bring them on. So let me go ahead and bring in Dr. Akita to the stage. Dr. Akita Evans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Tamarelle, for having me. I appreciate that was a very thorough opening. I'm Dr. Akita Evans. I'm a primary care provider, family medicine physician, and I'm board certified. As mentioned, I'm in private practice in Tucker, Georgia, and we've been there since 2019, but I have been in practice almost 20 years. And so I'm board certified in family medicine, and then I have additional training in functional medicine, which is the root cause medicine. I love to look at health and wellness through a genetic lens, a lifestyle approach, and then also looking at the whole person. And so when we're talking about hair, as the conversation has started, and we're thinking about root causes, yes, they're the genetic patterns. And then we look at how our modern day stressors, our diet, our physical activity, the way we live affects our hair health, our scalp health, and our total body health. So thank you for having me on. I look forward to continuing this discussion.
Yes. So as you can see here, you have the information up here. Dr. Akita Evans at Health E Medical Center. You see the address located at 1462 Montreal Road West, Suite 305, Tucker, Georgia, 384. And if you like, go to her page at info at healthe.com healthy.com. All right, now we have our next wonderful guest up, Sharmele West of Smiley's Hair Care Clinic. All right, so we're going to bring Sharmele up and bring her to the stage and have a great introduction here. And as you can see, we have Smiley's Hair Clinic located at 4229 First Avenue in Tucker, Georgia. If you would, I think we got a little feedback on your mic, Smiley. I think we have a little feedback. You probably have to mute something else that you have on at the time.
I don't have anything else on.
Okay. So let me mute myself for a second, and you can go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. That's great.
Okay. All right. My name is Sharmele Smiley West. I am from Boston. I'm a licensed cosmetologist since 1989. I've been certified in non-surgical hair replacement since 2006. I specialize in hair loss issues, hair thinning. I've done everything in hair that you could think of over the years. My main thing is our salon is not just a salon, it's a hair clinic. So you get a hair clinic experience. You also know that everyone in there is certified in hair replacement and are all hair loss experts. They will all considered PhDs, which is professional hair doctors at my place. You'll be treated with the utmost respect, a lot of courtesy, customer service. We pride ourselves in dealing with healthy hair care issues. We make sure we do no services that are hair damaging at my salon. So yeah.
I'm also a customer there. I'm sorry. I'm also a customer there. That's why you see I have these nice head full of locks. So I am a customer at Smiley's Hair Clinic. That's why I go and get these nice, beautiful locks taken care of. Now, I know we want to get into, let's get into also, Dr. Akita and Smiley has integrated into a business model. This is a business model that's revolutionary, where it's called follicle fusion, is where science meets beauty. So we're going to get into the aspects of the integration of both of the business models where science meets beauty. And we're going to go into the understanding of how this integrated business model operates within the medical field as well as the hair care industry. So yes, and we're going to talk about how does this work from do they work with men? So we have a question on the floor. We have our audience question on the floor. We also had some real audience we had to kick out. So yes, we're monitoring those boards here. All right, so let's get into follicle fusion, ladies, and let's talk about the integration. Would you like to read the brand initiative of follicle fusion?
Yes, where science meets beauty. And I'll just give a quick little background. For years, I've known Smiley. I'm also one of her clients. And through the years, whenever someone comes in with a hair concern, I'm like, gotta go to Smiley, gotta go to Smiley, because I know the care and the restoration will be out of this world. And so a couple of falls ago, like November 2024, I went through a stressful time. And because of that stress, I lost hair. And so I was like, I have to go to Smiley because that's what makes sense. And through that journey and Smiley helping me restore my hair, we got a greater appreciation for the blend of addressing the science, the health concerns that go along with hair loss, as well as treating things from the outside in, the beauty aspect of it. So we formed this collaboration called Follicle Fusion.
Let me ask you, Dr. Akita, let's start with the science first.
Mhm.
So let's go over some ways in which the clients can, with this new integration of science meeting beauty, what are some things that the clients will be able to understand from the side of the science aspect? I know this is Heart Health Month, and I know one of the questions I did, I said, is the heart also a part of the hair loss process? And you said absolutely. So can we get into some ways in which a client will benefit from the science aspect of working with healthy medical center and follicle fusion integration in that aspect, and also making a transition with Smiley's hair clinic? And we're going to get into Smiley's hair clinic, how that transition over as well. But let's start with the science.
Okay,
And
yes. So, as far as the science goes, how it relates to health, yes, heart health is related to scalp health. We're privileged to be able to see changes on the scalp before we see anything else. So we can see hair loss and hair thinning before we may be able to see heart strain or kidney issues. But the root cause is the same. And as I talked about earlier with my functional medicine approach, I'm looking at the root cause. So stress, insulin resistance, poor blood pressure shows up on the scalp. It shows up in the heart. It shows up in the cardiovascular system as high blood pressure. It shows up as high cholesterol. It can show up as kidney damage. It can show up as so many things throughout the body, but we're just able to see it on the scalp. We look in the mirror, we can see thinning, and we can see patches of hair loss. And so that is where the science comes into play. It is the same root cause, just showing up differently on the scalp, showing up visibly on the scalp. And so the approach that we do in the medical office is we take a thorough history, Smiley and I do together, because a lot of what she needs to know is related to what I need to know. And then I order labs. I'm looking at kidney function. I'm looking at blood sugar control, insulin level, vitamin levels, mineral levels. So we're doing a lab analysis as well as checking the blood pressure. Because with me looking at the whole body and having a holistic approach, I really can't just look at your scalp and ignore a blood pressure, or ignore onset of diabetes. And so that is the science aspect of it. I'm looking at the health, looking at the root cause, and seeing how correcting the scalp health can correct other health problems too.
all right. And can we talk about what would a client expect whether male or female, what will be some of the expectations when they start? I know you mentioned the motto is an inside out, outside in approach. What will be some of the things that a client would expect when they first start in the follicle fusion program?
Yeah, so Smiley and I do our consultations together so that when we're gathering history, we're hearing the things at the same time. So upon consultation, we're gathering history, and that does also include medications and supplements. I wanted to mention that because I talked about the root cause maybe being stress or a metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance, but for some people, the root cause has to also do with medications or other things are putting on their scalp are genetics. And so we're gathering the history. And then also during the consultation, we're ordering labs. And then Smiley can talk about the scalp analysis and the other things that go with it. But what they can expect is a joints consultation. And during that initial visit, we're doing the thorough workup, including doing the vitals, weight, height, as well as lab work.
All right,
And
Smiley, let's talk about the scalp analysis. Let's get into your area expertise in the follicle fusion joint venture.
Okay. So when we do the initial consultation, we have them fill out an extensive pamphlet because we need to ask a lot of questions, get a lot of answers. And that's when Dr. Evans will decide on what type of labs and things they need to do. And then I will do a microscopic scalp analysis. I'll put the microscope to the scalp, and we go through the areas where they're thin at and the areas where they're not. We're looking to see if there's any sebum at the base, any bacteria buildup, anything that's causing inflammation that we can see physically through a microscope. And so some of that will allow us to know when she pulls their labs that these things are attributing to what I'm seeing on the scalp. And then once we determine what like the cause is, we move forward with the program for them. And in that program, it will include them coming in once a month to get their scalp treated, to get their meds and labs done again. We do pictures of the scalp to make sure that we can see any changes in the scalp, to see if there is any hair coming back. We also check for, we do like an LED massaging hair growth treatment. They also get to bring home a follicle stimulator that they have to use on their scalp daily. They have we have a shampoo and conditioner system that I use, which is a DHT blocker in both, so it helps to stop hair from falling out and triggers. So the whole goal is to get the scalp as optimally clean and smooth and healthy as possible for hair to grow on it again.
Oh, I know we had a question with one of our audience. They wanted to know, is this something also for men? Is this something that men go through attributed? I know I've seen some of your clients. What are some things that the men deal I'm gonna bring Dr. Akita back on as well. What are some of the things that the men go through in the shop environment when you're working with them? And then we're going to go back to, I know a lot of time men that may think that they don't have hormonal issues, but Dr. Keita, I'll piggyback to you, and we're going to talk about some of the things that a man may go through on the science part of that. So first I want to talk about Smiley. I've seen some men at the shop, and I've seen a lot of transformation, and there are beautiful transformations that take place there. Let's touch on that from a man aspect.
Okay, so most men, by the time they come to me, are at a point of no return. They've waited too long, and this is because there was nothing out there that people knew that they should be trying to find out when they started thinning. So they're either gonna wear it completely bald, or they're gonna look for what we call non-surgical hair replacement. I don't do man weaves. I don't recommend man weaves. What we do is hair replacement. I don't put glue all over the top of the head like what you see, because I feel like that's contributing to the problem as opposed to helping to fix it. With clogged pores, things like that, I don't agree with that. So we have another way that we do it where we don't have to do all that on the scalp. And the pieces that we put on them are breathable, so that when they get their hair and scalp shampooed or go swimming or whatever, all of that you feel all of that on the scalp. The scalp is getting plenty of air and everything. So that's only when there's no growth coming back. You know what I mean? That's what we call the point of no return, is when they know that the follicles have died and it's been too long to re-stimulate them, or there's no way for us to get them back. But for those who can, those men who get to us early enough when they first start thinning, we can start the treatment system the same way that we treat it for women. Some of the products are a little different because they're made for men as opposed to women, but we can do them through the same treatment process and try to grow their hair back as well.
And Dr. Akita, can you touch on that from a science aspect for men?
Hormones in the blood work. I didn't mention that earlier, but we're looking at hormones and we're looking for similar root causes that are related to blood sugar control and blood pressure. And so we would have different expectations for their optimal hormone level, but it's a similar approach because we do see hair loss. We see it presenting, in different stages, but we would support them in a similar way from the science aspect of it.
Is there any additional information that we can bring to the table regarding this hair loss? Because I know a lot of times, some men may say, well, I can just shave it off and go bald, but I'm quite sure that not all men prefer to be bald, especially at an early age. I remember when LeBron James, let's talk about him, when he was young and he was going through his hair loss journey, and he was starting a process where there was implants that was taking place, and he received a lot of criticism in the beginning for that. And then then you saw the process that he went through, and then some of the hair follicles took in some areas and some didn't take in other areas. So can we discuss some of those aspects regarding the variations in hair restoration versus the hair pieces for aesthetics use instead of the non-surgical way? So can we talk about that? I'm not sure who want to go first.
Okay.
Okay.
I can. Okay, so you have hair restoration is growing the hair back. We're restoring the hair. Also, hair restoration can be surgical, which is they cut the back of the scalp and open it back, and they pull the actual bulbs of hair from there, and they place them again in places that you had hair before. And that process is painful, but I've known some people who did it and they were happy with the results when it was done. It takes some time. There's some scabbing, some peeling. It's just like surgery. And some people can grow their hair back fully after that, and some people it doesn't. I mean, with everything, there's gonna be, some can do it and some can't, kind of thing. There's no way we can guarantee everyone is gonna get their hair fully back again. A lot of people, this area is, when we're babies, that area is where the soft spot is. Mm-hmm. And so that area is where it becomes, soft again as we get older. You know what I'm saying? One thing is when your hair starts to thin, and people don't see it until it's dramatic. They don't notice it. Again, I always say they don't notice it until about 30% in. So by this time, I don't know if you've ever seen anyone with thin hair. The skin starts to look a little shiny and it starts to get a little hardened. And what it's doing is the body is building a protective barrier on the scalp because the hair is not there. But that's what the hair's job is for. So if your hair is thinning and the body's trying to protect itself, it's making this barrier, and the barrier, it becomes hard. So the hair can't come through because the scalp has made a protection. So, with the products that we're using something that helps to soften that skin back, remove those layers of hardness so that the hair can start to grow again through it.
Well, I didn't think about that because I know, you had that wig movement that took place for about, I would say about the past 5 or 10 years. And a lot of women, their hair was receding back. And now that I think about it, when you said that, yes, the front part of their hair was extremely shiny, like a baby, like pretty much a newborn baby. So that means that the follicles, they are closed in.
Yeah.
It's
The scalp is
closed up.
started.
The scalp is closed up to prevent the hair from growing up. Now,
Right.
does that also contribute to a lot of ingrown hair and things of that nature, dermatology
It can.
issues?
It can.
Right. Oh my God, that's interesting. Um, Definitely, I want to know more about also the science aspect, because I too went through a hormonal situation, and you talked about Smiley. You talked about the softening. I'm just going to mute some mics until, because I know I'm getting feedback on my end. You talked about, I know when I was going through some itching and some itching and irritation, and it could have been attributed to premenopausal time period that I was experiencing at that time. I was in the process about to turn 50, and my hormones was all over the place, and I hadn't even started hormonal therapy at that time. And I remember some days I would just be in the center of my head. It felt like my follicle was about to pop out. My hair was about to pop out the center of my head. And I remember I had when I came to the shop one time, and my stylist said, "You're going to pluck yourself bald." But I didn't realize that my hormones making my hair starting to fall out, and I had a bald spot, and it actually has fully grown back since I've gotten into the hormone therapy. So can we touch on that? Because I know a lot of women don't understand this. We suffer in silence, and we don't think about the hormone, the transition to re-regulating the hormone therapy to make sure your hair don't fall out. So can we touch on that, Dr. Akita?
Yes, that is one of the strengths of the partnership that Smiley and I have, because during that initial consultation and during the follow-ups, she has the scope on the scalp. We're doing the microscopic analysis, and then we're asking, oh, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Because we know the questions to ask that can indicate there's inflammation going on, that can indicate that there's irritation. We see the evidence on the scalp. The patient or the client is reporting the symptoms, and that helps guide our treatment. Smiley talked about a few things that help us decrease the inflammation from the external, the shampoos, the daily spray, and then the handheld device the client goes home with. And then I'm prescribing things that help work on the inside to affect the outside. And so those are part of the work of, and part of the questions that we're asking. And then we have the strength, the ability to look month to month, because we can see these changes on the microscope. We hear the changes in the client's report. Oh yeah, it's not itching as much. There's less irritation. We start seeing new hair growth. It's exciting. And so that's one of the strengths of our partnership. We can work together in addressing hormone changes, inflammation. It all goes together. That's one thing that this highlights. A lot of these different systems of the body all go together. The hormones, the inflammation, the metabolic health, it all goes together. And it's just showing up as hair thinning and hair loss.
I know I'm excited. I know I have been working with you ladies regarding the brand initiative for follicle fusion, and I got very excited about that because it touched bases on a lot of things I too myself was going through, and being a client at Smiley's Hair Clinic. Now I too understand why the technicians there, the stylists there. What is the name from PhDs? They give me the acronym for that, Smiley. I think it's very beautiful. I'm
He's
sorry.
your
Let me unmute
professional
your
hair.
mic. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting, this thing is moving slow. Go ahead now. What is the
We're
what
all
is the
PhD,
acronym for the stylist?
PhD, professional hair doctor,
Yes,
and that's been
professional
for
hair doctors.
since 2004. I've used that acronym for my salon.
I love it. I love it because one thing I can say, you will get hair care treatment there. I did not suffer long once I tapped into Smiley's Hair Clinic. They are there to look at your scalp and to make sure that you're getting the optimum experience and making sure your hair is being cleaned and things of that nature. Definitely making sure that your hair is being taken care of in a proper way. Now, I just so happen that I'm so excited to see this joint venture take place. I'm excited to see this joint venture take place here because I would have been a client of both, but I had jumped into hormonal therapy and I started seeing a change. So when they started talking about this joint venture, I was like, okay, wait, ladies, we have to get on here. We have to talk about this. This is very important. I think it's very important for everyone to know about follicle fusion, not just here for the Metro Atlanta, Georgia, Tucker, Georgia. Ladies, let's talk about, because I know we talked about a global, we talked about how this could help in for people that's not in the area. Let's talk about how the follicle fusion program can work for people that's not in the Metro Atlanta area. Who want to talk about that?
Yes, so we have a landing page that we can be contacted through our website, rather, www.folliclefusion.info. And through that, you can connect with us because this day and age, we can do video conferencing. There are ways that we can still gather the history and see pictures of the scalp submitted to our email address, and we can evaluate you virtually as well as advise on ways to manage your scalp health.
Okay. Let me put that in the comment section. Let's get that website again.
It's www.folliclefusion.info. And then also reaching out to our individual practices, Healthy Medical Center, Smiley's Hair Clinic. If you just get in touch, we can get you taken care of.
All right. And here's the information again for Smiley's Hair Clinic. As you can see right there on the board, you have www.smileyshairclinic.com or smileyswest.com or follicle fusion. There it is. .info. So the information is right there on the board for follicle fusion. I want to talk some more about follicle fusion. I know that we talked about I want to talk more about this, about the integration. I want to talk more about where do you see follicle fusion going? Let's hear from you, Smiley.
I'm sorry, trying to multitask here a little bit. I think with the follicle fusion program, we're just now trying to kick it off in September, this past September. It's something that we have been working on for a long time together, though, trying to make sure that we get it right. So now we're still working on the part for clients who cannot physically come to us, who are out of state. We're trying to work out the kinks on that. But right now, it's a 12-month program that once you get in, you start your treatments, you do your process every month. And again, we will check you every month to make sure that how the progress is going. And of course, we'd like to take pictures as well so we can show proof that it's working. I just really want this to be something that we can make into something really big where other doctors and other licensed cosmetologists and them can become part of this and either franchise it out, because this is something that could be so big because it's really, really good for people. And it's not a gimmick. Like, it's not the quick, like, I just want to name some places so bad, but it's just because it burns me up to see like so many people out here saying that this stuff is working, that they're doing, and it's not,
right.
It's real,
Yes, we also talked about let's talk about that, because I know you talked about, I too come, like, I'm a salon baby. I'm a salon child. And my mother, had a shop, Atlanta's Finest Beauty and Barbershop, downtown in Atlanta, Georgia, on Mitchell Street, on Mitchell corner, Mitchell Pryor. So I pride myself being a salon baby, and I've seen a lot of trends that's taken place over the years, from going from the natural hairstyles to the from there it was the glue in. From there it was the glue in. So it's a natural hair Jerry curls glue in, and then from the glue ins it was the sew in, and from the sew in it was the clamp in, and from the clamp in there was the wigs, and throughout that time period I've seen a lot of hair, because I have went through the process of changing. And I remember at one point in time I had to stop using. I have not had a relaxer probably in over 15 years, because that that relaxer was, it was, I felt like every time I got a relaxer, I felt dumb after it. It's like I couldn't even think straight. Something was going on in my brain. I couldn't get my brain to just function right after relaxer. And then it was so bad, it was burning my scalp so bad. I remember the last relaxer that I had, um, it burnt my scalp so bad. I had to use Neosporin for a whole month to get that stuff off my, to get that burn off my scalp. And I was like, that is it. And even when I went over to crochet, that started irritating my scalp. And after that, I said, forget it. I'm just going into locks, and I am a lock girl for life. So can we talk about the industry changes and how follicle fusion is helping to restore the integrity of the natural hair model?
Okay, so I don't want to only say natural hair, because there are some people that come to our salon that still get chemical services, but we have to give them the best quality and treat them with the best product to maintain it as well.
Right.
It's just the industry has changed, and the changes that I've seen is in the professional. There was a time when beauty industry professionals looked like beauty. They walked and talked like beauty. They was dressed all the time. They looked like professionals in the workspace, and it made the customer feel like they were being treated by someone professional. Now the industry is changing and it's evolving, and this YouTube stuff and the what do you call them, influencers and things like that.
Kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, and the kitchen titians. Don't even bring me there, girl. I can't take it. It hurts my soul. You know what I'm saying? And my mother was a kitchen titian. She never went to beauty school. You know, it was we're talking in the 70s, you know what I mean? And that was
Yes.
black girl thing. The ladies knew how to take care of their children's hair. I was just saying yesterday we had the eggs and the mayonnaise and the heating caps I plugged in the wall, all that stuff, you know. But when I went to beauty school, I learned that what those things were, though. You know what I'm saying? The eggs was protein, the mayonnaise was like a deep conditioner. So, you know, the products were, I'm going to say the products must have been a little better or something back then, because, and less damaging, because black girls did not have bald heads when we were coming up. Black women did not. Their head, they had full heads of hair, and they was using bergamot grease and what was that other one, Dax or something, you know what I'm saying? And so, and it still wasn't, you know, they still had a head full of hair. So it's not just about the hair products, it's also what's going on inside, because whatever we're eating and what's happening to the food and the steroids and whatever injections that's going and all the stuff and the fast food that everybody's eating and things like that, those are all playing a role in it. Gut health is playing a role in the beauty industry's hair services, you know. So when it comes to our product line and the treatment that we're offering with follicle fusion, it is to find out what is going on underneath in the body. What can we do to treat it topically? How can we make this where your hair is growing back and you're not killing yourself at the same time? Like, there's just so many things that's wrong right now, you know. And I don't know. I just want us to get health and hair back. You know, people are so unhealthy and they're losing their hair. Can we get healthy and get some hair at the same time?
It's so true. It is so true.
You mentioned something that was so vital: gut health. Gut
Yes.
health. You mentioned, I mean, it's so paramount. Dr. Kita, can you segue on that gut health? Because I know during our consultation, one of our training session, I mean, you talked about a product. You talked about a product that you carry, and then you were so passionate about this product. I said, "Wow, you just gave a commercial." Could you talk about because you talked about how it's a product that deals with the gut, deals with the clinic, and you said this product is so. You said the reason that this product is not even seen out in the market, but it's the market spread on there. You said, but this product is so pure, you can literally probably just go outside on the ground and eat it from the ground. Can you talk about that?
To having a garden in a jar. Yes, that's the Supernaturals product, the daily routine. To go back though to the gut health and the inflammation, as Smiley was talking, I was just thinking about over the past few decades, I think we've traded convenience for health because there's, I think, higher fast food intake. Everybody's on the go. There's less sleep because we may be up scrolling or we may be working or being producing, working. And so the lifestyle patterns have changed over the past couple of decades, and all of that has driven up inflammation. And so it shows up on the scalp, but it's all over the body. And inflammation is so closely related to our gut health. Our guts, outside of our gut lining, is 70% of our immune system. And so anytime that there is a leaky gut, meaning things, toxins are escaping the gut, is activating our immune system. And that results in inflammation. So 70% of your whole immune system is in the lining of the gut. Things like stress, illness, fast food, like all the bad things, the injected meats, all of those things can cause there to be leaks in the gut barriers. That leads to leaky gut. The toxins leak through the gut wall and activate the immune system. The inflammation shows up as high blood pressure. It shows up as diabetes. It shows up as hair thinning. It shows up as hardening of the scalp. So that's one of the root causes. Now, the product I was mentioning is called Daily Routine. It's by the brand Supernaturals. And what it is it contains 7 ingredients that are as pure as possible. There are no fillers. I helped create the product. And when I was working with the scientist, I was like, well, what about this? What about that? And he's like, if it's not from the ground, it can't go into this product. And so it is as close as you can get to growing it.
Yes.
Because the contents are preserved without chemicals. It's a water drying process. And so it's pure. It has a good shelf life and it's not tainted. It's not contaminated. And one of the, every component, every one of the 7 serves a purpose. So there's turmeric. We know that brings down inflammation. There's amla fruit. That's a natural source of vitamin C. There's moringa. I've called that nature's multivitamin. That's a leaf that's grown in subtropical areas, like close to the equator. And then there's guava leaf. So guava fruit, we may eat guava, but the leaves of that guava tree are medicinal. And that can help heal the gut. It can help regulate metabolic health, meaning bring down blood sugar. It can help correct blood pressure. And then the product also has ashwagandha, which will help us relax, and that because stress drives inflammation. Like everything we're mentioning drives inflammation, is all related to gut health. So yes, I'm very passionate about that product. I take it myself because it works, it's good, it's studied, it's supported by research, but then I also have a lot of testimonials from patients and customers. So that's the product.
And please tell everyone where they can get that product at.
Yes, the website is GetSupernaturals.com. So Supernaturals.com.
GET Supernaturals. I'm putting it in.
Thank you.
Naturals.com. All right. And actually, let's see here. Let's see if we can pull that up. Get Super Naturals.com. Let's see if we can pull that up here. It's called Daily Routine. Let's see if we can bring that up on the screen here. We're going to do this a little bit tricky here. Oh, multi-split may be easier. Okay, so it's looks like I think Sharmele dropped off the thing by mistake, but she'll come back. All right, but let's pull that up. Let's share the screen here so people can see what we're talking about here. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so this is the product we're talking about. Supernaturals Daily Routine, guava leaf, water soluble power blend, 7 all natural herbal blends. And as you can see, GetSupernaturals.com. This is where you can go find this is where you can go find that at. You can find that online. And that way you can get your gut health together and get your hair back growing if it's not too late. And that'll work for you.
Yes.
All right. All right. So I know we're almost coming up on the hour. I'm going to bring you back. Smiley, I'm going to bring you back to the, let me see. I have you back on here. Can you see? There you go. Cat ducked out on us for a minute. We're not done here. We have about 10 more minutes to go. Is there any more information you ladies would like to bring to our listening audience? I know this has been I'm just going to tell you, this has been a wonderful segment. It's where science meets beauty, hair health, and historical reclamation. We are restored because hair is not only our ancestral culture, it's also has been codified into law to where it has taken away from the beauty of our hair, as we said, since 1786 with the Tignon Law. Now, just another messenger, our normal airing time is 8 p.m. This is a special airing time. We will not air after this. So this will be the only air we'll have for the week. And as I said, you can always keep abreast through Just Another Messengers and the shows that we're going to be bringing forth. We're going to be doing some new things coming forth and maybe moving over to a new different platform because we are heavily censored. So in the meantime, you can subscribe, share, and like on our YouTube page at Just Another Messenger, as well as X at JAM _404 podcast. We'd like to continue to thank our supporters for their contributions to the show, and your continued contributions can be sent to Cash App via $ Just Another Messenger. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, you have a message that will also deals with our cultural connection, as well as how we are to restore a reclamation of our cultural norms. You can send that email to Just Another Messenger podcast at gmail.com. All right, ladies, let's go in on additional information we would like to discuss here this evening before we sign out.
I have one thing that I wanted to say. When you were talking about supernaturals, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours the other day, and they were talking about a product very similar. So I Googled yours because I wanted to see if this product that they were talking about was similar to yours. And I was like, no, her product is like super like healthy, and it's like all natural. And she tried to say like, well, they always have to put things in them to make it preserve and whatever. I said, I don't think so. This is strictly, so I just want you to reiterate like how important it is to know, like, this is not, there's no preservatives, there's nothing added to your product, to supernatural.
I'm glad you said that, Smiley. I am so glad you said that. And that's why I wanted to pull the product up, because up on the screen so people can see that. I know a lot of times, and especially in this conscious trickster type of industry that's going on in this social streets, I know we're new to learning about our cultural herbs and things about that nature. A lot of people understand the biblical understanding of Revelation 22 that talks about the healing come from the earth, and everyone go out and they grab a whole bunch of different herbs, and then they play apothecary in the kitchen and things of that nature without fully understand. You may not be able to mix this with that, this with that, this with that. So I'm so glad, Smiley, that you touched on that, because any product that's a synthetic product that you have to keep for a product that you saying is natural, that's not a natural product. So please get into that, Dr. Akita. Please talk about that.
Like real quick, so the background was during COVID, I was looking for a natural product to support my immune health because I was still seeing patients and couldn't find one. I could not find a source of zinc that was not synthetic, was not compounded with something to increase its shelf life. And, Smiley knows, and Tamara, you're getting to know, like, if I'm not going to take it, I'm not going to promote it. And so most things just in general in my practice, in my different endeavors, I've created thinking about what I need, what people around me need. And, there's a lot of other things out there that may be a gummy, maybe this, but those are all full of synthetic fillers. There are things that increase the shelf life. There are things that increase convenience. And I said, I have observed we traded a lot of convenience for health. And so sometimes we may need to just take a scoopful of blended herbs, stir it up and drink it, as opposed to grabbing 2 gummies and being out the door, because we want things that are not going to trigger gut health issues. They're not going to increase inflammation. They're not going to worsen our metabolic health. Even the little bit of sugar from a gummy, that does not serve our body. That is not providing any nutritional needs. And so this is pure. And then we worked with a scientist who knew how to balance the things in the labs. I had the idea, I had the knowledge, and I actually studied herbal medicine formally, but I had to consult with a scientist who knew how to break it down in the lab and make it so that the balance and the blend of the products just respected the property of the different herbs and the plants that we were using. So it is natural. The ingredients are listed. It's just those ingredients. There are no fillers, and it is high quality.
I'm so excited to start. I'm definitely going to get on it myself. Learning about that, I was like, "Oh, I'm on. It's on." And Smiley, I want you to go ahead and take us out. Let's talk about the hair. Let's talk about the hair pieces that when someone is going, like you said, they have went too far, and the restoration portion of hair restoration has gone beyond that point. I want you to close out with the aesthetic pieces. I know you said they can swim, they'll be able to enjoy and still feel water and things of that nature. Can you talk about that type of system piece that you have as opposed to just a wig being slapped on the head? Can we talk
So,
about that?
so I've been doing non-surgical hair replacement on women since 2006, and I started doing it on men about 10 years ago now. Um, it's our custom made hair cranial pieces are cilium cranial prosthetics. That's what they're called. And so we call them CCP systems for short. We get them, we measure the scalp, the head for whatever size space you need, whether it's this big or if it's the whole head, we measure it out. We get color, get the length, the texture, the color, whatever you want, you can have it. And we only put the medical grade adhesive right around the edge to hold it. There's nothing in the middle. So, and once it's put on, it can last anywhere depending on your sweat and how your sebaceous glands respond to it. You can keep it on anywhere from 2 weeks to 12 weeks. You can come in and get it shampooed and styled while it's on. So if I put it on you today and you want to come in 2 weeks and get a shampoo and roller set, you can come in and get a shampoo and roller set. Nobody won't even know that that's not your hair on your head. If you want to come in and get a wrap and pixie style or finger waves or whatever, you get all of those styles you want. And then we take it off, clean you separately, clean it separately, and put it back on. You can reuse the same unit over and over again, sometimes for a year, sometimes for a year and a half, sometimes for 2, depending on, again, it depends on the person's how they maintain it, depends on the sweat, the styling that they get done to it. Because if you get a lot of styling done to it, sometimes it might start to shed a little faster than others. But all of those things, and the quality, we do get great quality because we order it from overseas and we make sure it's the right size and customize it for each person's individuality. And also, I just want to say briefly, next week, starting next Tuesday, we have a show coming out, Chopping It Up with Smiley. It's our 2nd season. And this month it'll be Dr. Evans and I will be on there every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And that is to talk about follicle fusion and heart health and hair, and what heart health has to do with hair loss. Anything else?
What page can they find? I was there. You know what? You like 10 seconds ahead of me. Because what page can they segue? Is that the page, the Facebook page that they can segue on your Chopping It Up with Smileys on Tuesday with Dr. Akita and Smiley? Is that the Smiley's Hair Clinic Facebook page?
Yes, it'll be the Smiley's Hair Clinic page. It'll also be on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay. All right. You see that on the board there. All those pages you can go to. Hey, we're all like, share, and subscribe. It's all about each one, reach one, teach one. I am an advocate of that model. To me, we were always about that until people got into this algorithm space and scared to tell the next person Facebook or YouTube information. There you go on the board. You have Smiley's Hair Care Clinic.com, a Facebook Smiley's Hair Clinic, IG information, TikTok information, as well as LinkedIn. You have for Smiley's Hair Clinic. You also have Dr. Akita Evans, Healthy Medical Center. You can find it website and all the social sites at info@livehealth-e.com. This has been a wonderful, wonderful segment. Ladies, I thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of the helping to create the brand initiative for follicle fusion. I look forward to continue working with you today, tomorrow, and future endeavors as we all continue to grow and get back to our natural state of the beings we are. In the meantime, I'd like to tell everyone to tune in every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not have an 8 p.m. show. We had a special show at 7 p.m. As we stated, we're not monetized on YouTube. We will never monetize on YouTube. So support the channel via Cash App at $ Just Another Messenger. Into the meantime, ladies, would you like to send a nice shout out to our listening audience for tuning in this evening?
Yes, thank you so much, you guys, for listening to us, and thank you for having us, Tamara.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And I look forward to working with you again. Have a
Bye.
great
Same here.
evening, everyone. Good night.
You